As you recall, last week we learned of Jacob and his 12 sons. Joseph was his favorite son, young and in charge of the other sons, which greatly angered the other 11. Jacob sent Joseph, age 17 at that time, to check on his brothers and the flock while they were in a distant land away from home. Seeing Joseph coming clad in his splendid special tunic, the brothers contemplated killing him at first, and then they decided to sell him into slavery to some traveling Ishmaelites. We begin this lesson. Joseph is in prison, having been falsely accused of assaulting Potiphar's wife. Even in prison, God is blessing Joseph, for he is noticed even there. Pharaoh has a dream that he was standing by the Nile, and 7 cows, sleek, fat, come by to graze, and then 7 more cows, ugly and gaunt. And the ugly and gaunt cows eat the 7 sleek, fat cows. Pharaoh awoke and had a hard time understanding this, but he fell asleep and dreamed a second dream, 7 ears of grain that came up from one stalk, plump and good, and then 7 ears that were thin and scorched and sprouted after that, and the thin ears consumed the plump ears. The Pharaoh is frustrated by the failure of his staff. He had the dreams, yet could not understand what they meant, and his staff was of no help. Now, Pharaoh had a cupbearer who had once been in prison with Joseph, and he had promised Joseph, because Joseph had interpreted a dream for him, that he would remember Joseph. Because of the similarities, the cupbearer remembered Joseph and told Pharaoh of his talents. Pharaoh has Joseph cleaned up and then recounts to him his dream. Note here, Joseph desired to be released from his unjust captivity, but never brought it up. His first concern was not his own comfort, but with the glory of God. Even when Pharaoh tried to credit Joseph with this talent that he had, the young man clarified the source of his ability was from God. Joseph tells Pharaoh, "Your 2 dreams are one and the same." God is telling Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 years of great abundance will be coming to Egypt, and after that, 7 years of famine will come. All the abundance will be forgotten, and the famine will ravage the land. Joseph explains that the dream came to Pharaoh twice because it means that the matter has been determined by God. God will quickly bring it about. But Joseph was more than a prophet. He was a public administrator. Not only was he able to project things that were about to come, he analyzed the trends and determined the best course of action in order to minimize the impact upon the nation. He advised Pharaoh, find a capable administrator. He should gather up a double portion of the bumper crop that would be produced by the land during the years of prosperity. That's about 20%. Under that administrator, Pharaoh should appoint other men to collect and supervise the storage of this abundance, and it should be stored in a place that Pharaoh controlled. These surplus should be brought into cities for safekeeping, and then they can be later distributed. These steps will minimize the impact of the famine on Egypt. Self-interest had never manifested itself in Joseph. He did not even mention his unjust imprisonment here. Joseph acted selflessly as a servant leader to help the people of Egypt. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God has informed you of all this, there is no one more discerning and wise than you. You shall be over my house, and according to your command, all my people shall do homage." Joseph was second only to Pharaoh now. elevated from slave to second in command of the most powerful nation the world knew at that time. Pharaoh put his signet ring on Joseph's hand, clothed him in garments of fine linen, put on his gold necklace to represent his power, and Pharaoh gave Joseph the daughter of Potiphar's priest and as a wife, and Joseph was in charge of Egypt. Joseph had started this day with the piddling hope of being released from imprisonment, and now, at the age of 30, he is prime minister of Egypt. Before the years of famine came, he had 2 sons. Joseph named the firstborn Manasseh, saying, "God has made me forget all my troubles and all my father's household." The second son he named Ephraim, saying, "God has made me fruitful in a land of my affliction." Joseph did not claim this success to be his. He recognized God's hand. God's rich blessings had enabled him to blot out the painful memories of the past, especially the hurt and bitterness against his brothers, and in truth, we all could understand why he would still have some bitterness against them. But God's hand was working here. We, however, shouldn't get the impression that Joseph had no more longing to see his fathers or brothers. He was second in command. He could have gone and gotten his brothers, or gone and seen his brothers. Rather, Joseph was content to remain in the land where God had brought him. That's the lesson for this week. Have a great week. Bye.